What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls led video bringing you some more bad news for the Chicago Bulls and a topic of discussion that I want to bring out about this situation that we're currently in and whether the NBA should or should not delay at least one of our games, but most likely a couple of our games, just because of the outbreak the Chicago Bulls have had. In the end, another one bites the dust, ladies and gentlemen. Another one falls to health and safety protocols. I'm starting to lose count of how many players are just in health and safety protocols. But I just want to see whether or not the NBA should or would change or postpone our schedule for the time being, just so we can get our players healthy and ready to go for the season again. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the situation and what do you think the NBA should do about our situation, if they do anything at all. It's one of the most frustrating times for the NBA and for the Chicago Bulls more specifically, as so many players are now out due to injury and health and safety protocols. And the last one being Derrick Jones Jr., who I believe just earlier in the day or last night for me personally, ended up entering health and safety protocols. I did make a poll about it, but this is the video of me speaking about it. Derrick Jones Jr. is a vital player to the Chicago Bulls. Off of the bench or in the starting lineup, he is massive to what the Bulls want to do and massive to the way that we play. So it's another big loss for the team to see him go out due to health and safety protocols. And all we could say now is to get well soon to Derrick Jones Jr., get well too soon to all these players that are in health and safety protocols, and hopefully it won't be long until we see you guys back on the court ready to play and go and give it a your all towards the next moment of the season. It sucks, ladies and gentlemen. Another player that's been out, another player out for the Chicago Bulls, and we are on thin ice, ladies and gentlemen. We are 1 or 2 players away for the NBA being forced to postpone our games. I believe you're only allowed to have 8 eligible players on the team, and I think this is the 7th player or 7th player, I think, that is out from health and safety protocols and injuries. Just to count all the players that are currently in health and safety protocols and out to injury, just so you can get a clear idea of the Chicago Bulls' current situation. Again, I did do this in the last video about injuries, but again, we have more players now that are out. So let's talk all about it. So Kobe White is the first one out for health and safety protocols. Second would be Javonte Green, out for health and safety protocols. Alex Caruso would be number 3. He is out for a hamstring strain. I always get that wrong. Number 4 would be Derrick Jones Jr., out health and safety protocols. Matt Thomas out for health and safety protocols. Patrick Williams out for the time for the season, for pretty much for a wrist injury. And I'm sure I'm missing DeMar DeRozan. Of course, how could I forget about our superstar player? Is also out for health and safety protocols. That's 7 players, ladies and gentlemen. And I could be missing some, but I don't think I am. Those are 7 players on this team that are out with health and safety protocols and injuries. 7 out of 15, and now 7 out of 16 because we do sign Stanley Johnson. So we are 2 players away, or 1 player away from the NBA being forced to postpone our games. But the question is now, should the NBA just go ahead and postpone our games? Because there's clearly an outbreak in this Chicago Bulls team. And not only are we endangering ourselves, our teammates alongside of us, but and coaching staff as well, everybody involved around the Chicago Bulls could potentially be in danger by the situation. But it's not just the Chicago Bulls that I'm worried about here. We faced a lot of teams in the NBA. We have one of the most games played in the NBA season at the moment. So with that being said, looking at players, looking at teams like the Miami Heat that we're going to face soon, obviously Cleveland that we just faced, the Denver Nuggets that we just faced. If we got any of those players from Denver, the virus, then they're already down bad as the way that it is with the way that their injuries are currently holding up. Imagine if they ended up getting the virus, what would that do towards their team? So we could potentially be harming other teams in the process. And I understand we take tests every day, and these tests should determine whether or not teams can play or not and all of this situation. And I understand that. But at the end of the day, there's something that's not right in terms of the NBA testing system that they do, and for these players to continue to play when we clearly see one by one there are players entering health and safety protocols. It seems like after every game, someone else enters health and safety protocols. So there's clearly something wrong with the way the NBA is handling this, in my opinion. And there is a question that needs to be asked of whether or not the NBA should consider postponing the Chicago Bulls games until we quarantine or until we just get some more players back so we can actually have a healthy roster again. I guess the way to look at this, and to answer the question that I think the NBA are going to do, you have to look at other teams that have been put in this situation. The only teams that I believe have had serious outbreaks in terms of their team is the Charlotte Hornets, I believe, and the Philadelphia 76ers. And Philadelphia was in a very similar situation to us. Obviously, one of their key players in Ben Simmons is out, and he's currently suffering through mental issues. So that's obviously one player that's out there. I believe they had 5 or 4 players out from the virus, including their star player in Joel Embiid. And I believe they also had an injury on their team as well. So they come just as close to the Chicago Bulls in their situation. And I'm sure there were Philadelphia 76ers fans that were crying for their games to get postponed because they knew the situation that they're going in wasn't going to be a good one for them. They already lost Ben Simmons, and it doesn't look like Ben Simmons is coming back anytime soon. But then they lost Joel Embiid. They obviously, and Tobias Harris as well. That's their best team, ladies and gentlemen. So they've gone through a rough period as well. And the way that I see it, that probably should have been a situation where they should have postponed their games. That's an unfair advantage for any other team that's in that situation that was versing them, including the Bulls. We versed them twice. Obviously, Joel Embiid was there for both games, but that's a really difficult situation to put yourselves in. And right now, the Chicago Bulls are in that situation. So it'd be hypocritical of me to say that Philly should not have had their games postponed, and then I should say that the Bulls should have their games postponed. That's very hypocritical. I think at that time, many people would have said Philly's game should have been postponed. And I believe now the Bulls game should be postponed. But the key thing is the NBA didn't postpone their games, at least according to my knowledge. Again, I'm not a Philly fan, so maybe Philly fans will have a more idea of that situation. But they didn't postpone their games. So the way that I see it, unless we are physically unable to play, unless we don't have the players in the team that are eligible to play, if we don't have 8 minimum players on the team, then I don't think the Chicago Bulls will have any games postponed. I don't think the NBA will do anything about it, even though I personally think that's the wrong decision to do. The way that I see it, if there's an outbreak, you got to get it early. You got to fix it up and close it up as early as possible. If there's an outbreak in the team, it started from Vucevic, it all went to Kobe White, went to Javonte, to Matt Thomas, to DeMar DeRozan, to everybody. There's clearly an outbreak on the team. Zach LaVine was sick to a non-COVID related issue. For all we know, maybe that was COVID. Who really knows? You just don't know in this day and age. And there are things that the NBA tells you. They're not very, I guess, informative in their situation, in my opinion. They let people like Shams and Woj speak out. But I don't think the NBA do a good job in speaking out about their rules and what they plan to do about certain situations. So my guess is, I don't think we're going to see any games postponed unless we have less than 8 players on the team. Unless we are physically unable to compete, I don't think the NBA will postpone our games. No matter how bad of a decision it is, no matter how good or bad players will feel around the situation, no matter who we're versing, how many losses we take, that's not going to be the NBA's problem. The NBA will say, if they are unable to compete, then they won't compete. We will postpone their games. How are they not going to compete? They don't have the eligible players to compete. That's how the NBA are going to see it, and that's how I think they're going to roll with it. I think we're going to see the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat being played. Miami don't have their best players out there either, it looks like. So that's going to be a game that I think many people were excited for at the beginning of the week. Now not so excited because I don't believe they're going to have a great team going out there either. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough situation. It's not one that I'm too keen about. And again, I'm just really worried about who's going to be next for the Chicago Bulls. You're telling me somebody else on this team that currently isn't going through health and safety protocols. Right after the Heat game, there probably will be another player that enters it. So it's a bit of a worrying situation, and I'm worried about the players. I'm worried about the team. I'm worried about the coaches. I'm worried about everyone involved around the Chicago Bulls. I'm worried about their health. I'm also worried about our season as well. So I just don't know what we're going to do. But I just think the NBA will see it as if they have 8 players, they have to go and play. Simple as that. And we're going to have to live and die by what the NBA says, right or wrong. Whether they like us or they don't like us. I know many people have discussions about how the Bulls are not necessarily a favorite team in the NBA. All of that situation, whatever the case may be, we have to live by what the NBA has to say, what the NBA does. And if they didn't do it for Philly, I don't see why they would do it for the Chicago Bulls. Because I feel like they were in very similar circumstances. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we are in a worse situation. I can't really say for sure. and I just don't know their situation as much as I know our situation. But I personally think, looking at the players that we have, the players that are out from injuries and protocols, our game should be postponed. I think multiple of our games should be postponed, but at least that Miami Heat game coming up should be postponed. Speaking of the situation for the Chicago Bulls, ladies and gentlemen, this is breaking news that I will be talking about just after you watch the rest of the video. The Chicago Bulls actually signed another player, and his name is Alfonso McKinnie with the hardship exemption once again. So this is just another example of the Chicago Bulls games not being postponed. We are going to go and sign another player in terms of the hardship exemption. He's played in the G League before. Apparently he's averaging 24 points, shooting 43% from the 3-point line, which is a very good stat to have in terms of the 3-point percentage. And yeah, another player that's being signed for the Chicago Bulls, it looks like he's going to be good from the 3-point line, which is probably something that we need. We need a little bit more offense on the team, and someone that can shoot the ball at a high level. It could potentially be very valuable for the Chicago Bulls. But again, this goes to show that the NBA will do as much as it can to try and make sure none of these games do get postponed. And we'll wait and see how it goes. Hopefully he'll come in against Miami and play well. Hopefully the Chicago Bulls could do well against Miami and Detroit, because it looks like after those two games, maybe there's a good possibility for the rest of the team to return by the Toronto game, maybe the Lakers game, whatever the case may be. It's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I just wanted to add that in there just because it is breaking news for the Chicago Bulls, and I didn't really want to make a whole separate video about it. It's in a very similar topic to what we were already talking about. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this signing. Do you think it's a good signing for the Chicago Bulls? Do you think he'll make an impact? All we need is a short impact on this team. We need one player to have a great game against Miami, just to have a little bit of more competition, so we're not losing these games or getting blown out. We need Stanley Johnson, we need Alfonso McKinnie to step up to the plate and just show what they could do at the NBA level. He's a veteran guard, or he's a veteran forward, I should say. I guess he plays both positions, and he hopefully can do the right thing, play well, play the right way, play within the system, and just have great games for the team while he's here. And we'll see what we could do afterwards if the Bulls decide to keep him on, or if the Bulls decide to let him go after this 10-day type of contract. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day. Take care and peace.